Hello, and welcome to day 5 of 30 days of Q&A, where today I'm going to be talking about how you can negotiate flexibility. So, for those of you that don't know, I am doing a 30-day series. So, throughout the month of June, every day I'm answering a career-related question. So, questions around returning to work, around job searching, around job transitions, around starting a business, all of those questions that are coming up frequently from clients that I work with, from people that I speak to, and that I see people asking. So, I'm tackling those over the next few days, and I've already tackled some. So if you haven't seen the first few videos, I'd go and check those out. But yes, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Janine Esbrand, and I'm the founder of Lightbox Coaching, where I help women to return to work with confidence and build careers that they love whilst raising a family. So today we're diving into flexibility, because we all want to know about how to negotiate flexibility, especially if you are a working mum. The likelihood is you're going to want to figure out a way to work and also accommodate your childcare commitments. So flexibility is key, but often people query, how do I get that flexibility? So I'm going to walk you through the 3 things you want to do to achieve and negotiate flexibility in your role, whether that is you going back to your previous role or you looking for a new position and speaking to your prospective employer about flexibility. So the first thing you want to do is really prepare and spend some time thinking about what your skills are, what your experience is, what results you've achieved in the past, and ultimately the value that you can add to an organisation. So you want to be able to say that I've done this, I've done that, and that is why I would be a good candidate to consider for flexible working, because I'm somebody who you want to have in your team, and I'm somebody who's going to be able to add value. So in order for you to sell that and put that forward as a proposition to your employer, you need to do some thinking around that. So you need to really take some time to list out some of the things that you've achieved in the past, think about your previous experience, and often women are not that great at singing their own praises, and it's much easier for men, and it might come a lot more naturally to them to shout about what they're good at doing. But it's good for us to get into the habit of taking the time to say, actually, yes, I've been really good at that, or I've achieved a lot in this area. So I want to urge you to take some time to do that thinking, so then you'll be able to communicate it more effectively and confidently when you're speaking to your prospective employer. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to think about, what do you actually want? So in terms of flexibility, what are you looking for? So you can say, I want a good work-life balance, or I want flexibility, but that can come in loads of different forms. So for some people that might mean going into the office really early and then finishing early. For others it might mean being able to work in normal office hours and then logging back on later on. For others it means only working during term times. For others it means doing the job share. So there's lots of ways that you can work flexibly. So think about what your ideal would be, and then look around and speak to some people that are working flexibly and ask them how it works for them. Ask them about the logistics, ask them how their employer has found it, because then you're going to be able to go into your negotiation armed with some examples of how it could potentially work, and then you also knowing what your ideal scenario is going to be. So that's your number 2. I'd also suggest that you check out my podcast, because on my podcast I interview a range of different women about their careers beyond motherhood and how they've made it work. So you might find some great inspiration by listening to that, and I'll post a link to that in the comments after this. And then the third thing to think about is your negotiation. So when you're going into it, you do want to think about what you want, but you also want to think about the employer, and you want to think about the business case. You want to think about how your proposal is going to work in practice and how that might affect the business and how it runs, so that you're able to put forward your thoughts, because that's what they're going to be thinking. They're going to be thinking, well, is this going to work for us? So do the thinking ahead of time, so that you can demonstrate to them, well, this is what I want to do, and this is how I propose it working. You know, how is it going to impact clients? How is it going to impact the team around me? Am I still going to be able to do the work so other people don't have to pick up slack? So just think about that, so that you can communicate to them and make it easier for them to say yes. So those are really the 3 things you want to do. So you want to think about how you're going to sell yourself as somebody who needs to be working within the organisation. Think about what you actually want to do in terms of flexibility, and then think about how that's going to impact the organisation, so you can talk about ways that you can work together to make it work. And one of the things you may want to do is suggest that you do a trial period. So show that you're willing to be a bit flexible and suggest that you maybe start off with 3 months or 6 months just to see how it goes on a trial basis, and then you can come back and review. And for an employer or potential employer, that might make them feel comfortable that they're not committing to something and they don't necessarily know that it's absolutely going to work for their organisation. So those are my top 3 tips for you in terms of achieving that flexibility that you want. So to recap, you're looking at your skills, then looking at what you actually want, and then looking at what the organisation needs. So I hope that's useful for you. If you like this video and you've been liking the videos in this series, then do share with others that this series is happening. And I know that there's a number of videos that you may want to revisit at a later date. So what I'm going to do is pull them together in a central hub that you can sign up to receive access to. And I'm going to put a link to where you can go and access all of the videos at the end of the 30 days as well. So that's all from me today. I'll be back tomorrow on day 6 of 30 days of Q&A, and I hope you have a good night. Thank you for watching, and I will be back tomorrow. All right, bye.